What's up, guys? It's me, your faithful host, Let's Play Dark Souls HD, and welcome back to our in-depth playthrough of Elden Ring. So today we're going to continue with part 2, and today we're going to focus on exploring this big chunk of Limgrave out in front of us. So we're going to go pretty far today, but before I jump into all of that and we start actually exploring, I want to couple a few more fundamental things that happened in the last episode. So we got Torrent in the last episode, and what I usually do with Torrent is I put him on the top button here. So that way, to summon Torrent, all I have to do is hold the triangle button, or whatever your top button is of your Xbox or PC, and just hit up. It's much better than equipping it to your hotbar, so that way you don't have to scroll. So Torrent is a very, very huge part of this game. Torrent is going to help us cover almost all of the difficult terrain that we get faced with, and mounted combat is its own giant thing that I'm going to cover. A lot of people really don't care for the mounted combat in this game, but I think it's great. It really just depends on how you utilize it. You can either have a really negative or a really positive experience with it, and I'm going to show you guys how to have a positive one. So I always clear this the same way. And you don't have to worry about dying in this place, because if you look up in the top left corner where my stamina bar is, you can see a little icon there that looks like the Stake of America. Because that's what it is. It is a Stake of America. And anytime you see that icon next to your stamina bar, it means if you die, you will be eligible to respawn at a Stake of America. And in this case, it's the one that's right up there on that dirt hill where the bats were. So it's daytime right now. We've got plenty of time. We don't have to worry about bats or any other nighttime difficulties. And I highly recommend you try to cover this area in the daytime. So let's go ahead and clear this place out. And we've already fought some of these guys, so we know it's easy to kill them. What did this guy drop? Okay, we got a smithing stone. Alright, that means we can already upgrade one weapon. But we're not going to, because we don't have a weapon that we want to upgrade yet. Now there's a couple guys that patrol through here, so we need to be careful of them. I really do like this sneaky, stealthy kind of play. It's a lot of fun. And we have the western area of the map unlocked now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to creep back up here, and we're going to assess the situation. So we do have two guys patrolling over here. They're kind of moving back and forth and patrolling. This guy right here is your big problem. You see that big trumpet that he's got on his waist. You want to get rid of this guy. And as long as you stay prone like this, it doesn't matter what armor you're wearing or what weapon you have. It doesn't matter what your character looks like or what your build or starting class is. Prone is prone. Stealth is stealth. So as long as you are stealthed, you're good. Now he did see me, but watch. If I go behind this wall and stay out of sight, he suddenly forgets all about me and goes right back to his patrol. So as long as you're not directly in the enemy's line of sight, they will never see you coming. Make sure you get rid of this guy first. The next person you want to get rid of is this guy. We're going to grab these smoldering butterflies that are hanging out by the fire. You're going to find these things all over the game. And there's a couple more over there that we're going to grab right now. Well, maybe not right this second. We'll wait till we clear the rest of the enemies out. So we got this guy right here that we're going to take care of. Our first patroller. And no, you don't have a crazy, like, jump into the air execution attack like you do in Sekiro. That would be really cool. Descent attacks are a thing in this game. You can do both a heavy and a light attack airborne in this game. But this guy we're just going to cut to pieces because he's by himself. And we got a couple bolts. We do not have a crossbow at the moment, but we will fix that soon. So this is a relatively safe and easy way to clear this place in the beginning of the game when you don't have very many levels. So that guy, this big dude right here with the spear, is super problematic. He's going to be a wall for quite a few of you. Now, I recommend initiating this fight just like you would the other guys. Just wait for him to turn around, sneak up on him. This guy with a spear shouldn't see you. Never mind, I'm a liar. But it's okay, we can fix this. It's all good. So this guy's going to be super aggressive. And you want to guard counter this guy. This is an ideal way to fight him. I do not recommend practicing your parries with this guy. He is a horrible guy to practice your parries with. Okay, this guy we can guard counter. Now there is a clear difference between these two enemies. The guy we just killed right there is just a regular soldier, while this is a knight. Now the knight is going to be your first troublesome enemy in the game. He's very hard to get behind unless he does the run attack, in which case you can get a free backstab against him. But the problem with this guy is he's got quite a bit of poise. He can really brush your attacks off. Like, it's not ideal for me to power stance against this guy because he can just completely interrupt my attacks and poise right through them because of that armor that he has. But I'll just wait for him to expose his back to me and take advantage of his blind side. And we'll finish him like that. So depending on how you fight these guys, they can all be relatively easy, but if you're not entirely familiar with the combat in this game, and you're not super familiar with the way the enemies attack, that guy can definitely give you a hard time. So your safest bet is just to keep your shield up. Do what I did, strafe around him, and take advantage of his blind side and do the backstab. I mean, you can try to fight him head on, but he will 100% out-damage you and tank through your attacks. So this next part that we're going to do, I'm actually going to start over on this end, because there are a couple enemies over here that are kind of by themselves in a different spot. And we're going to clear them first, because there's actually an item over here that I don't want to forget to grab. So we're going to do our sneak thing, and what you want to do for this is backstab this guy like you would the other ones. Just sneak up behind him and backstab him. But this guy over here against the wall, dead ahead of us in the bushes, he is going to stand up and aggro as soon as you backstab this person. So don't drop your guard. As soon as you take care of that guy, shield up and get ready for this guy. It looks like we're good. We're getting a couple pieces of armor here and there. I'm not particularly interested in these pieces of armor that we're getting. Like, I definitely don't want that. It's heavier than what I'm wearing and does not necessarily have better defense at all. It definitely doesn't have better resistances. We did get their surcoat in the previous episode. It's really cool to see surcoat in this game, because the only other game I play where you see armor pieces that are called a surcoat is Dragon's Dogma, and I'm sure a lot of you know how much I love that game. And we just picked up these Godric Knight Gauntlets, and these things are heavy. No thanks. So we got our Rune Fragment. We've already picked up several of those. You can throw them, or you can use them to craft things, which the thing you craft with them is simply other throwable items. So we're going to sneak our way through all of this. This guy really isn't doing much. He's not a problem. Like, he's too far away to come in and help once you start fighting the other guys over here, but runes are runes. You may as well get rid of him. So here's what we want to do for this part. Most of these guys over here have dogs with them, or I guess they're not dogs, they're wolves. I'm going to grab this glowing skull right here. Anytime you see a glowing skull like that on the ground, it has a rune in it that's worth 200 runes. Alright, so here's our first part. I hit that wall, so they are now exploring the sound, and that's a very, very cool part of this game. Enemies are audio triggered, which is super cool. If you hit walls or if you throw objects, the enemies will go investigate that, and I think that's super cool. So what I recommend you do is if you don't have a bow or something, go for the dogs first, like especially if you have something like a kukri that does a lot of damage. Right here. Boom. Take him down in one hit. You will not kill the Godric soldiers in one hit with the kukri. So it's much better used on the dog because the whole name of the game right here is getting rid of enemy numbers. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unequip those and I'll put these on. Because what we want to do is we want to pull these guys, but we want to pull the wolves first. Well, it's not necessarily working for me. Well, it kind of did. Alright, that's fine. So here's a good opportunity to power stance, because we're not stealth killing right now, we're just meleeing. It's super satisfying to use these while power stanced. I haven't even gotten to show you guys the cool attack yet. Yeah, the running attack when you're power stancing these is really, really good. Man, that shit felt good. And we even got a Crimson Flask back. So did you guys notice that? When we killed that enemy, we didn't just absorb the runes. There was a red sort of glow that happened. That is your clue, or your cue, rather, that you got back a rune. Or, not a rune, a Crimson Flask. Sorry, it's really late. I'm kind of tired. So that should be all the enemies through here. And we do have another Site of Grace over there. We're going to head in that direction next with Torrent. But that looks to be the majority. Alright, so now that we've covered all of that, we're going to go into the place that was mentioned in the little developer note, right here, this underground chamber. Now, a lot of areas in the game that are distinguished as ruins or abandoned temples or anything like that are going to have areas like this where you can go underground and you can get a chest. So let's look at the things we just picked up. We just got this guy, the Whetstone Knife. So you can now add new battle arts and affinities to weapons. Allows the use of Ashes of War at a Site of Grace to bestow a new battle art and affinities to armaments as skills. So what this item will do is it essentially will allow us to change the scaling of our weapon. We can't do it with the weapon we're using right now because it has a unique weapon art. It says it on the screen there, the Golden Tempering. But if we were to use a regular weapon that does not have a unique weapon art, we can now change with the Ashes of War that we find. And it looks like we've only found one, which is the Storm Stomp. And this is a great ability. It's super useful in the beginning of the game. I would highly recommend you put this on any weapon you have that does not already have an aggressive skill. So like daggers, for example. If you start with like the Bandit or something, and it has Quick Step on the dagger, I'd recommend changing that to Storm Stomp almost immediately, because that ability can be really, really useful. So now that we've covered this camp, we got the map fragment, and it says a new map has been found. Look at that. Does that not look so much better than what we were greeted with before? My god. Alright, so we are going to focus on exploring basically this entire section of Limgrave that we have made visible on the map, including the Dragon Church down here. So I'm going to spend a lot of time going through these areas and showing you guys where all the cool stuff is, and we're going to pick up all the good loot, we're going to fight all the optional bosses, find as many NPCs as we can, and have a generally good time before we go heading up this way, like from this point forward, the gate front and on, leading up into here, into Stormvale. we're going to save that for last. So first, let's head over to this big pile of swords sticking out of the ground. This is going to be our first bit of lore candy for the episode. Godric the Golden, humiliated, having tasted defeat by the blade of Michaela, now on his knees, begging for mercy. I don't know that her name is pronounced Michaela. I do know that because I bought the collector's edition of the game, I have the statue of her. I'm looking at it right now. It's a really badass 9-inch figurine that comes with a hiltless sword. I don't know that that's how you pronounce her name because I haven't heard anyone in the game say it yet, but that's how I'm pronouncing it, just Michaela, I guess, or Michaela, I don't know. So we'll grab this side of grace. It seems awkwardly close, right? Like it seems very, very close to the other one. It seems almost pointless, but it's not. So let's get on Torrent here. These guys over here on horseback have these curved greatswords, and they're quite dangerous. Let's take a look at some mounted combat real quick. So you have your regular R1 swing, or if you want to attack the other side of Torrent, you have an L1 swing. And then you have your strong attack that corresponds with both sides too. Utilize this. You can't just attack on one direction, you can attack in both directions for a reason.
Oi! You there. Could you help us out, Cully?
So there's our first NPC. Well, I guess Vare may have been our first NPC, but this is going to be our first NPC quest line.
You there? Stop pretending you can't see me.
So if you can't figure it out, it's this awkward looking bush.
What'd you go and do that for?
So anything you do is going to cause this guy to react like that. You can roll into him for no damage, or you can just straight smack the bush. Like, you can attack it once, but I would not recommend attacking it any more than once, because at that point you're going to piss him off and aggro him. But if you want to go the safe route and just get this guy out of the bush so you can talk to him and do his quest line, just roll into him.
Oh, yes. I remember. Some clod turned me into a tree. You were just breaking the spell, weren't you? Thank you. The name's Boc. I was pushed out of the cave. Told not to come back. Not ever. Then I ended up as a tree. Lucky you came along, really. Oh, what a shame. When they threw me out of the cave, they took everything I owned. And so this is all I have to express my thanks. I hope you can forgive me.
Oh, a mushroom. Thanks, man.
Or, well, if you can afford to wait for a while, I could sneak back into the cave and bring back something of actual value. Well, then I'd be of some real use to you, I reckon. Right, but I'll need a moment. I'm frightened of them, so I have to gather myself. My knees start knocking, just thinking about that god-awful cave on the shore. Right, but I'm...
Alright, so he mentioned a god-awful cave on the shore. That cave would be down this way, so... we are definitely going to go do that cave, like 100%. It's right along this beach here, but we're not going to do it right this second. Let's actually go grab this shiny. It's right out in the middle of the field, why not? The Arteria Leaf, another crafting item. Anyway, mounted combat. Let's go ahead and take this guy down. And miss completely, like the Crafted Scion. Oh my god, stop moving, you jerk. Shoo! This guy's kicking my ass. Alright, so what did we learn from that exchange? He has much better reach than us, right? He's very mobile, he can turn around with virtually no effort. And like I mentioned before, with the curved greatsword, he's got much better reach than us, and he can move super quick. So here's what we're going to want to do with this guy. I recommend strafing around waiting for him to attack, as in baiting his attacks, like that, boom, and then react. So we don't do a whole lot of damage to this guy. Our best bet's probably going to be to try to attack his horse at the same time, because we want to kill them both. If you knock this guy off of the horse, he's just as dangerous. He will use the weapon art, which is called Barbaric Roar, and he'll get a big boost in strength and poise, and he will knock you off the horse and still kick your ass. So I would recommend trying your best to kill them both at the same time. I'm going to utilize the attack I have that will allow me to hit both of them at once, which is just my regular R1 attack, or light attack if you're not on PlayStation. So, again, I'm just baiting his attacks and punishing accordingly. And you can take your time with these guys. I mean, he's by himself, right? You know, there's nobody nearby. And as long as you are nimble on Torrent and you don't get super duper close or stay in one place while you're attacking him, you don't have much to worry about. I mean, his attacks are super straightforward and simple. And it may look boring the way I'm fighting him, but it got the job done. So there you have it. There's your demonstration of effective mounted combat. Like I showed you in the beginning, do not run in and just start blindly swinging at him like I did initially. You're going to die like that. You really want to get an idea of the way your enemy attacks first, so just kind of run around on Torrent, let them attack a few times, get an idea of what they're capable of, and then learn how to counter their attacks accordingly by being smarter and faster than them. So we have another guy out there on the bridge. And then I'm going to go to this cliffside real quick, just so I can look at this gorge here. There is a cave directly beneath us, and there's an NPC invasion that happens right there. I'm not going to trigger that just yet. There's another NPC that I'm going to speak with first before we do that event down there. So let's run up here to this structure. There's some ruin fragments here that we can pick up. Alright, so this encampment right here, there's a couple of these barbarian guys, and you can pick them off one by one, but there are wolves with them. Like, you can see them sleeping on the ground, they occasionally flick their tail. That's how you know that they're not dead. They are very much awake, they're just waiting for you. So I don't really have any throwing items or anything like that to help me in this situation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use stealth to pick them off one by one. So I have the attention of one wolf already, which is fine. The guard counter works great on the wolves. And look at that. Definitely don't want to aggro that guy. Not the one on the horse. Let's go around this way. We'll use the stealth mechanics to our advantage. And if you had ranged magic, like if you started with an astrologer or a class that had a bow or something, you could probably do just about anything in this situation to pick them off from far away. Because these guys don't heal. They don't use Essence Flask or anything like that. So this guy does not have a wolf with him. He is ripe for the picking. Oh goodness. Tried to get my strong attack out on him, but I think I did it just a little bit too early. So that, the Barbaric Roar, it's not good. He hits a lot when he does that attack, because what that does is it turns your strong attack into a combo. So that guy we can pick through relatively easily. This guy, I think I will do the guard counter with. Oh. Maybe. You leave yourself quite open. This shield is great, I'm telling you. Like, almost every other starting class, your guard would have been broken right there. Not with this class, though. So once his health gets low enough, you honestly can just smash through him. It's fine. So now the only thing we have left is, I think there's one more wolf. 2 more wolves. Alright, not a big deal. And then we have that guy on the horse that patrols through here. So let me grab this without aggroing them. Alright, the Armorers Cookbook. We're going to take a look at this in just a second. That's it. Come here, you. Come on. Come on. Oh, come on. Don't change your mind now. Alright. Oh, shit. There's Horse Guy. Okay. Don't particularly want to mess with him. So let's take a look at this cookbook that we got. Now the cookbooks are always going to pop up in your key items. So this is the one that we purchased that allows us to make the bow and ammunition. And this one allows us to make fire grease, drawstring fire grease, which is just a more temporary version that you can use on the spot, and then fireproof dried liver. I would imagine that the reason the game gives you that cookbook with those recipes in particular in the beginning is because we are next to a dragon boss, and we're not going to fight him right now. His name is Agil, and he's a super cool boss fight. It's very exciting to fight, but we're going to save that for just a little bit later. So I want to demonstrate something to you guys that's really cool. The strong attack, when you hold it, it's not just a charged attack. It is a constant damage as you run past these enemies, like this. You can literally just run past them, and if the sword touches them, it's doing damage. You see? So it's really good for sweeping attacks when you're trying to get rid of large amounts of weak enemies. Or if you want to get rid of Torch Guy. This is, I'm telling you, we need to talk about this for a second. The only thing in this game that is 100% fucking invisible to Torrent and other forms of mounted combat is Torch Guys. Like, do you see this? For some reason, Torch Guys, like, Torrent cannot get past them. It is super annoying. So I'm just going to use my running stab attack because it gives me the most distance. Alright. So out there, that is called Agil Lake. That's where he will land. If you go out there, he will spawn, and jump down, and kick the shit out of you. Alright. We need to be careful here. I want this guy, but I do not want a piece of that. So unfortunately, it looks like, yep, it is nighttime. That guy out there on the horse with the giant halberd, that is the Knight's Cavalry. He is very similar to the Tree Sentinel, but more difficult in some ways. That guy will absolutely push your shit in if you are not careful. I don't recommend fighting him when you're new and if your character is not very leveled up, but we're going to have to be smart about this because I want this scarab. This is a special kind of scarab that we do not want to lose. I'm going to use the monocle here. You see he's a different color. He's not pushing a red orb. So he's not going to give us the Crimson Flask like the first one did in the last episode. He is silver or whitish. And the orb that he's pushing, you can see it looks like it's made of stone or ore. And he will drop upgrade material. And there's another variant of him that is very similar, that pushes a different kind of orb that drops Ashes of War. But this one, you can tell what he's going to drop based on what he's pushing. This scarab is going to give us an upgrade stone. So let's lead him away from the Knight's Cavalry, and we'll just slash at him with our light attacks. Or actually, he did give us an Ash of War. Okay. So we unlocked Determination, which, it's alright. It can be useful in some situations, but I don't recommend it for the beginning of the game. So I'm not worried about fighting any of those guys, and I definitely don't want to fight the Knights Cavalry right this second. We're probably going to go fight him right about the same time as the Tree Sentinel. So that is about as far as I want to go in that direction, simply because of the Knights Cavalry. We're going to head over to this Grace. We're going to rest. And I'm going to pass time until morning. Because we're not going to be able to get past that guy. Not if he's still patrolling the bridge. So let's get on Torrent. And we're going to head just a little bit further down in this direction. You can use this telescope to look in that direction. It's a really, really nice view. That temple there is where we walked out of when we opened the doors to the lands between for the first time. And then we walked our way over there, which is the Church of Alais. And then we went down through these trees and followed the path right here to the encampment where we found the map fragment. And then we are literally right here in this spot. So everything up past these big castles right here, like everything beyond that, is going to be Stormvale territory. I'm not going to touch any of that for now. But what we are going to do is we are going to cross this big bridge. And we're going to go a little bit over here in this chunk of land. And we're going to grab some items and fight some enemies. And then what we'll end up doing is pushing our way further back here towards this beach. And that's our general strategy for today. Okay, not bad. We do alright damage, considering we don't have a Somber smithing stone yet or anything. My goodness, these guys are literally immortal because of that torch. It is like the worst. So the Knights Cavalry is no longer here to plague us. We can grab this item. We got ourselves another smithing stone. So by this point, if you didn't get that lucky drop that we got with the smithing stone off of that Godric soldier, or I think it was the knight, maybe the draw. No, it was a regular soldier. You could just grab that, and you would end up with 2 by this point. You want a piece of me, dude? Alright, this is what we wanted. The Somber smithing stone. This is going to allow us to upgrade the weapon that we're currently using and get some more damage. So I'm going to stick to the cliffside over here real quick for a second. And let's talk about this real quick, the change in the land. So this is a huge part of this game. There are many different places in the game where the path will split, not in left or right necessarily, but in up or down. You can choose to stick to the left here, and it will take you more uphill, or you can choose to stick to the right, and it will take you down here to the lake. This can get pretty confusing in this game as far as following the map. Like, you're going to look at certain parts of the map, and you're going to keep telling yourself, how the hell do I get there? I can see it from up top where I am, but I don't know how to get down there without dying. And the secret lies in following the terrain. So this right here, this is an interesting event. You can kill these trolls, and you can loot this chest that they're pulling. The item that's in that chest isn't necessarily super important to me, but you don't have to kill the trolls in order to loot the item. I do know that as long as it's moving, I don't think you can open it. I'm going to try. Yeah, you can't. Alright. But if you kill all these guys and the trolls stop moving, well, I keep calling them trolls, but they're called giants. If the giants stop moving, then you can loot the chest. But you'd have to kill all these guys first. So, I suppose I could do that. Here, let me, Hey, they finally did the rolly thing. Let me get my buff going. Woo! That Godric soldier went in on me. Alright. You, Horsemaster. That's it. Get mad. Barbaric roar me. Alright. So now that their rider is gone, we can really mess with these guys. Get the fuck out of here. So ideally, you want to try to get rid of this guy first. The one with the horn, because he's the one that's going to draw the aggro to you. Don't feel super pressed to try to go out of your way and get rid of him with these guys, because this is not exactly a threatening group. I say that even though I almost got waxed. But what you really want to do is focus on the rider first. Then you can just kind of pick these guys apart. You see the reach on these things? It's like you almost have the same deceptive reach that the Grafted Scion has when you use this weapon. It's pretty cool. I think not, sir. There we go. And we got one more guy with a torch? Alright. As if we didn't have enough. And there we go. So now... Oh, shit. They're getting close to the other guy. Let's see about this chest, huh? Still. Well, I guess we have to make sure it's not moving in order to get it. Ah, shit. May as well clean this guy up. Oh, goodness. Let me get this strong attack. Don't be like that. There we go. That's it. Yeah. We'll trade strongs. Come here. Yeah, that's it. Now, you can jump off of the horse and you can get a critical on those guys if they're on the ground. But I find that sometimes that can be kind of annoying to pull off. So... Yee. Be very careful on this part. This is the general strategy. Watch out for these pipsqueaks that want to try to get in on my giant kill. I'll keep hitting this guy. There we go. A couple of charged strong attacks. We can get ourselves a critical. Oh, he's free. So once the giant is free, it is very much in your interest to kill him as fast as possible. Like so. And here's an interesting mechanic that I think is really cool, and I know Vadi pointed this out very early into the beta of this game. But once you kill a single giant, it seems that one is just not strong enough to pull the wagon by himself. So from this point, you should be free to loot the chest. So as long as it's not moving, you can open it. And we got the Great Axe. Not necessarily a weapon of my choice. I'm probably not going to use it, but it is definitely a cool weapon. Alright, we got ourselves a flask back. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to buff our weapon. And I'm going to use the special attack. It's really cool. Watch this. He interrupted me, but you get it. It's kind of flashy and cool, you know. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Meant to just hit him once. Oh. Yeah, you really have to be careful with the giants. They can get kind of nasty. If you just wait for him to kneel, you gotta be real careful because he is 100% distance activated. He does not attack just because you attack him. He attacks because you're a certain distance away from him. So I recommend sitting back here, just kind of stabbing him in the heel. And if you do enough charged R2 attacks, you can get a critical hit on him. But the problem is that breaks the chain, so finish him quickly if you do the critical on him. Like, it is imperative that you finish him right away if you do the riposte, because he is no longer going to be restrained to the cart. So now, we're going to continue a little bit further in this direction. We're just going to sort of stay on the path here. And I do want to go up there real quick. How did I miss? Oh my god, he can jump high. That sure as hell isn't normal. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. That's my first time ever seeing that in this playthrough. Well, in this game. I've never seen those guys straight up do the Samurai Jack jump really good. Alright. We're getting a lot of drops on this character, I mean, which is strange because we only have 9 arcane. That is one of the lowest starting arcanes in the game. Alright, speaking of item drops, the gold pickled Foulfoot. This is a great item. It boosts your rune acquisition for not 60 seconds. It's got to be a little bit more than that. Maybe it's 5 minutes or something like that. It'd be really cool if it would tell you in the item description. But Four-toed foot of a fowl, pickled in a golden medicinal solution. Craftable item. Boosts the amount of runes obtained from defeating enemies for a certain duration. Since old times, the needy would scrape the meat clean even from a fowl's claw. So, times must be tough if people are eating chicken feet. Don't knock those till you try them, by the way. Chicken feet are good. Alright, this item I want. We're not going to mess with the big old flower right there. It's very much a jerk enemy. He's going to try to do the poison cloud there. Yeah, that's a whole bunch of nah. So, not that they're particularly difficult. Like, if I was patient, we could probably smash that thing, really hard. But I don't feel like dealing with it right now. The only thing I'm concerned with is this item here, which is super easy to miss. But my goodness, is it good. Oh god, we have to get it and go right now. Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. That was a lily. That's not what that's supposed to be. Hang on just a minute. I think I've made a mistake. That is not what I thought it was. The item that I'm wanting is down there. Yes, indeed. Alright. Alright, let's go down there and get it. And watch out for these flowers. They are indeed a pain in the ass. They will stagger you if you're not careful. Mind the poison cloud. It does have a reach, but if you get too close, the poison will start building really fast, and we don't have any items on hand that can cure a poison. Alright, so we are going to go in here, and we're going to fight this boss, but we're going to go in prepared. Okay, I don't have much of anything. I was going to try to use anything I can to boost my ability to heal, but alright. Best we can do is buff our weapon, I guess. Alright. So this is the pumpkin head. His head takes 0 damage. You gotta be real careful. Hit his arms, his legs, whatever else. But be very careful because he has an AoE with that head. And his weapon, it causes bleed. So I don't recommend blocking it if you can find an opportunity to roll. General strategy with this guy is stay behind him. Try not to get greedy. Do not hit him more than once unless you see a truly lengthy opening. Like that, since he was in the middle of an attack. Now, sprinting around this guy with your guard up is ideal, because you can still block while you're running, but it'll give you an opportunity to get behind him quicker. Now these guys, strangely enough, they become a common enemy later in the game. But he's considered a boss right now because he is particularly difficult compared to like the Godric soldiers. Like he does way more damage than them. And I don't know why I dropped my shield right there. Whoa. I think he clipped behind me. Alright. You see the general strategy here, though. It's relatively simple. Just watch out for his crazy flail attack that causes bleed. Some of his attacks do wind up. You want to be very much aware of those. Because if you roll too early, they're designed to catch you. Like this guy is a big culprit of punishing panic rolls. Like that attack, you see there's kind of like a wind up where he spins it a couple times. And I would say the flail, it is bad news because it causes bleed, but his head is probably the most dangerous part of this fight. I mean, it'll do the most... Oh, goodness. Shoot. Don't you dare proc bleed on me, sir. There we go. I don't like it when that thing goes behind my shield. It's really weird, like, the way the flail works in this game is that it will 100% go right behind you, around your shield. Oh, I'm against a wall. Alright, and we got him. So once you beat that guy, there is a site of grace down here that you can use. So we'll go ahead and rest. And now, we're going to open this. And this is going to be our second NPC.
Tarnished, are we? I wonder you should turn up here. I am Sellen, a sorcerer, quite plainly. Why are you here?
So you can tell her never mind, and it will just kind of end the dialogue, and you won't do her questline, but Sellen is interesting to me. I really like doing her questline, and it's really cool where it takes you, and it's very interesting how many people you interact with over the course of her questline and the way her character sort of shifts. So I'm going to do her questline because even though she is a sorcery vendor and I'm not going to be doing an intelligence build, you don't have to have a certain amount of intelligence to do her questline.
Ah, a yen for glintstone sorceries. I dare say your proclivities are far from ideal. Oh well, perhaps nurture will defy nature, with a bit of luck. But one must choose one's masters wisely. I was exiled from the Academy of Rea Lucaria as a reviled, apostate witch. Do you still wish to learn from me?
Absolutely.
Well, you are a piece of work. Very well. You are now my protege in glintstone sorcery. But I refuse to coddle or cast kind words. Never. Anticipate grievances, young apprentice.
Well, I was a federal employee at one point. I can tell you about grievances. Anyway, studying sorcery is how you access her as a vendor. She sells a few different things that are super low cost, except for this guy. Crystal Barrage is the only one that requires any significant investment into your intelligence to be able to use. But other than that, I mean, your minimum requirements for a lot of these are like, 10, 12, 13, like, they're relatively simple, so you could buy a few of these if you want to and use them really early on, especially if you start with the Astrologer class. Like, you could use every single one of these except for Crystal Barrage right away if you started with the Astrologer, which has 16 intelligence right out of the gate. But this is going to be your first vendor where you can find some really good sorceries, and I highly recommend fighting the Pumpkinhead to get to her really early game. And we get the nod in thought gesture.
Young apprentice. First things first. You are a tadpole when it comes to magic. Infantile. Without the legs to walk. So, to become a sorcerer, first, you must face your ignorance. Now, shall we start learning?
Alright, so I'm probably going to end up buying a couple of these because I'm not 100% sure yet, but I'm fairly certain that buying these sorceries is what causes her to progress in her storyline. As in, I believe certain parts of her story you can't do unless you actually buy her sorceries. And I can't confirm that. Maybe somebody in the comments can, but that's my take on it so far.
You wish to continue the very well.
Alright, so there's nothing in here, but she will stay here pretty much forever. And interestingly enough, she's in soul form right there. And she looks human, and she looks like she has flesh, but she does not. Her corporeal flesh is actually trapped. It's imprisoned in a different location of the game. Alright, so there's one boss out of the way. We've got a good few chunk of runes that we can use to level up here in a minute. But let's continue a little further down this way. Alright, we got some wolves over here. You will run into some groups of wolves that have an alpha, and I don't know if you can see him, but he's up there on the rock. I'm locked onto him right now. Alright, let's do this. Buff up. And we'll fight this guy. Oh, come on, if I can hit him. There we go. Take out the alpha. Now we can just kind of pick these guys off. Ooh. Almost got my ankle there, pal. There we go. And I'm telling you, eventually you're going to get to a point where one smack on Torrent will be able to kill just about any of the wolves you encounter. Like, right now, we don't have much going for us because this is an unupgraded weapon and it has really terrible reach. Like, this is a horrible, horrible weapon to use on a mount. But it's the best we've got. Okay, we got a thin beast bone. This is what I wanted over here. So this is something really easy to do in the beginning of the game. I recommend clearing the wolves before you loot these golden runes, but this right here, my friends, is free money. And that one was a tier 2, so that one will give us more than the one we've been picking up. There's a tier 3. And you can either choose to consume these right away and use them to level up, use them to buy things from merchants, whatever you want to do. I'm telling you right now, going and looting those and then consuming them is about your best method to go buy those sorceries if you are short on runes. So if you are an intelligence build, like if you chose the astrologer or the prisoner, and you would like to do Sellen's questline and buy some of those sorceries from her, by all means, 100%, absolutely, consume those and buy those sorceries if you'd like to start using them right away. We have another section of gravestones down there, which are also going to have consumables, but we can see right now it is being guarded by yet another group of wolves. I'm not sure what it is about wolves guarding the dead in this game. It seems like a fairly cryptic and interesting reference, but it is definitely a pattern. It's consistent across different areas of the game. And that there, we are definitely going to go there. That is Fort, what's it called? Oh, there's where the map piece is. We covered this in the last episode. If we go over there, we can find on that stone there the next map piece that's going to cover. It's going to unlock Eastern Limgrave. But that fort there, oh, the name slips my mind, but we're going to be going there relatively soon. And then over there, where this minor Erd tree is, that's nestled into this forest, which is called the Mistwood Ruins, is going to have another boss near it. Alright, let's push over in this direction a little bit. Okay, so this part sucks. Let's see, how are we looking on time? Okay, we're getting pretty close. He's already spotted me, great. Alright, so I'm going to show you the best way to deal with this part to make it the least pain in the ass possible. Yeah, whatever you do, don't knock that guy off. Like, just kill him. You can give this scroll to a sorcery vendor, and you can learn new sorceries, and that's not necessarily an option for us at the moment, but it will be later. Ignore all of these Godric soldiers. Like, ignore all of them. Focus on this guy, for sure. And again, I can't stress this enough. Try your best to kill these guys while they're up here. Don't knock them down, because if you knock them down, the fall isn't going to kill them. They're going to continue to attack. They're going to continue attacking you as soon as you, or as soon as they stand up after you knock them down. So now we should be free to clear out most of these Godric soldiers. But first, we're going to grab this. The Starlight Shard. So note the location we picked it up in. There's this big half bowl type thing, and there are lots of these across this playthrough. Like, all over the Lands Between, you will find these half bowl shaped things. Don't really know what they are. Altars, we'll call them. And they're always in the same place. They're always located on a big slab of stone at a cliffside. And what the Starlight Shard does is it gradually restores FP. So if you are out of blue flasks and you really need FP, like going into a boss fight or something, you can use this. It's a one-time use item, so you can't reuse it. Once you use it, it's gone. But it will recover a pretty good amount of FP. An ephemeral sliver that gives off a pale blue glow, what remains of a passing flash of starlight. And it says, a prized item that was once used in the Eternal City as an ingredient in intoxicating draughts. And we will definitely learn more about that as we explore the Eternal City later on. So I think it's really cool that it says it's a shard of passing starlight, as in it's, I mean, maybe a fragment of a shooting star that has reached the Earth. Who knows? But it's time to clear these guys out real quick. And we're going to be real sneaky about it. because they're dumb and deaf. Like, I mean, this guy standing over here has to hear that crunch and that grunt of death. But, I mean, and somewhere in the back of his head, he's thinking, well, that can't be my coworker dying. I really like this weapon. I just want to say that. It's very cool. Like, it's not necessarily the most ideal weapon, and it definitely has its drawbacks, especially in the beginning of the game, because in the beginning of the game, you want to be more defensive, if anything, and use your shield. But, I don't know. I feel like maybe if you're confident and you don't feel like you need the shield to save your life in every encounter, it is very fun to power stance this weapon. And I really like how versatile the attacking is. It does everything from slash damage to thrust damage, and it can break posture really easily. Oh, shit. That guy hits hard. Alright, come here, you. Damn, that's like that guy's favorite attack. There we go. That's all I was waiting for, was something normal. Alright, hi you. You are not gonna do that. I absolutely will not let you. Okay, who else we got here? A couple of goobers. Alright, easy enough. Alright, and then we got his gauntlets. Not that I need or want them, but why not? So check this out. That guy ran away, and he wants nothing to do with us. Some of these guys are just straight up not hostile. We got ourselves a golden rune. Alright, I really don't want to mess with the guy on the horse. I want to lead this guy away. Alright, come here, you. Yee! You dare attack me in the middle of my attack. So the only problem is my special attack will not break this guy's poise. He'll just like power stance his way through it, so I'm not gonna bother doing it to him. I'll just do this. Alright. Oh shit! He followed up. Alright. There we go. That thrust attack is good, man. It's really good. Oh, I figured I was going to get another flask back from him. I guess not. Okay, so it looks like we just have Horse Guy left, and I don't really want to fight him because I just want this right here. Bingo. The Great Epi. Epee. Let me show it to you. So the Great Epee, this is a heavy thrusting sword, which is a brand new class of weapon that is new to Elden Ring. It has a D in strength and a D in dexterity, but it requires 15 strength and 16 dexterity to use. We don't have those stats yet, but this thing's good, man. Like, it's like an S-stock. It's a thrusting sword, but it's like a washing pole thrusting sword. I mean, look, the reach on this thing. It is good. It does slashing and thrusting damage. And it is very, very good for outranging your enemies. Okay. So here's what we'll do. Since we're about at time on this video, I'm going to show off one cool feature. This right here is a spirit spring, and that is a big-ass dragonfly. Don't worry about that. They're not going to attack us. This is Spirit Spring, and it's going to tell us what they do as soon as I jump into it, but I'm going to explain what it does to you anyway. Oh, it didn't tell us. Okay, whatever. You can jump down into these and take 0 fall damage. And you can also go into them and jump really, really high and take no fall damage. It's really damn cool. So let's take one more look over here. Get rid of this crossbow guy because I really don't like them. Come on, gentlemen. Oh, goodness. I thought for sure I could outpoise them. Alright, there's my flask that I wanted back. And we got his cap, so we can have a fancy hat if we want. And we got ourselves a rune. Alright, money. Here's what I wanted. I want to go grab this grace over here. And this grace is just downhill from a boss that we are going to fight in the next episode. Alright. We'll rest at this grace. And I'm going to level up just a little bit. So I think I definitely want more health. And then what do I want to do? Maybe dexterity, maybe strength. Yeah, I think we're going to start going the strength direction. We probably should. Or, I don't know. I kind of want to change it up and go faith dexterity instead of faith strength. Because I can always change it later if I want to. But, yeah. Why not? We may as well go dexterity. Yeah, I'll change it up. Sacrilege. Faith strength is my baby, and it works so well on my other character, but whatever. We're going to go dex. I've officially changed my mind. It's fine. Alright, so this is an excellent place to stop. In the next episode, we're going to go out there and we're going to murder this scarab, which... would you look at that? It's another Ash of War / upgrade material one. And I think what we're going to do is, in part 3, we're going to go murder that scarab. We'll go just uphill here, and we'll fight the boss, which is the Bloodhound Fang Knight. And then we will also go upgrade our sword that we're using. And since we have a Somber Smithing Stone, we can do that now. It'll give us a little bit of extra damage. But I hope you guys are learning things from these videos. I hope that you guys are enjoying watching me fight through these enemies and explain what they do and talking about the lore and picking up items and really just diving into this game and exploring everything that it has to offer. I hope you guys are enjoying and learning from it. But thank you guys so much for joining me in part 2 of the in-depth playthrough of Elden Ring. I've been your faithful host, Let's Play Dark Souls HD, and I will catch you guys in the next video.